Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I am so excited to welcome you back to another episode of Five Star Radio. This is our week one look ahead to the San Francisco 49ers. Thank you so much for hanging out. I am so excited to hang out with you guys for the next hour or so and talk a little bit of Steelers ball. Um, I am hyped for week one. It seems like everybody's hyped for week one. Why wouldn't you be? It's all roses until we start playing. But I have a distinct feeling it's going to be all roses even after we start playing. And here to talk about our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers with me for the next however long is my good friend, as usual, Mr. Steel Flyers. How you doing, bud?
Hey, how are you? How are you?
Welcome, welcome. I'm doing good. I'm having a shockingly delicious blood orange soda that my
Ooh,
my
ooh,
partner
I
brought
love
me
blood
from
orange.
shop she works at. It is I haven't tried it yet. She brought me as a treat yesterday, and I just sipped it while I was waiting for this
Ooh.
to get started. And I gotta say, it is shockingly delicious. So I am starting
Yes,
this. I'm starting this in a good place. Yes.
there you go, man. There you go. That's awesome, man. I'll tell you what. First of all, thanks for everybody for hopping in and checking out Five Star because, listen, we do this because we love doing this, but we love talking about the Steelers. But listen, you got really, we are so super excited about what Five's going to be like this year. And I like being at the bit like I'm looking past the game if you must know the truth.
Really,
I,
not me.
I, I'm just saying that facetiously, right?
You're right.
But I'm looking forward to the first episode of this season for Five Star matchup. And I'll tell you what, if you got on board, if you aren't hitting that like and subscribe, if you aren't doing that $7 a month on the man, you guys got to. The stuff all costs money, and Five Star matchup is worth that cup of coffee a month. I'm here to tell you, go do it. Go subscribe. You won't be mad at all. Promise.
Appreciate that, my friend. Definitely do consider going to patreon.com/5SMU. We'd really appreciate it. Join at that Big Ben level, $7 a month. I'm telling you, there's no better deal in digital media. The work I do for you guys, the obscenely stupid jokes I write overnight every Sunday for you. Trust me, they're worth it. YouTube doesn't want to pay me,
Yeah,
so
they
I
are.
need you guys too. So hop
Yeah.
over there
Yeah.
if you can. Steel Fires, your voice was just breaking up a little bit on that when you were talking. Do you have
Sorry about that.
did you close that OBS we were working on? I wonder if that's pulling some juice from your computer because you just were like lagging a little bit. Just making sure. Um, that's all insider baseball
Yep, it's
stuff.
off.
Okay, good. That's all insider baseball stuff. We are here today to talk about the Steelers and the 49ers this week. I want to talk about a couple different things. Obviously, first of mind is Mr. Nick Bosa got his deal today. Officially going to be the highest paid defensive player in the NFL. Salaries are going absolutely through the roof in the NFL right now, particularly for quarterbacks and pass rushers. And yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Not just as it pertains to the Steelers game, but in general, just him becoming like the highest paid player in the league. You think that's deserving, or what have you? What have
We're,
you to say?
we're okay. So this is a cyclical thing, right? Where you're getting we're at that time now where we're at that crop of players where like the next deal that potentially that you so like when the deal came out for TJ Watt, he was the highest paid when the deal came out for blah 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 for this, for that, for everything else. You know what I mean? What was Dante Johnson? He was what, fourth highest paid wide receiver?
Yeah, I don't know
You're
if
gonna
he was that. Yeah, but yeah, I get you. Typically, yeah, when nowadays when the best guy comes due, he's gonna get the biggest deal. It's just how it goes.
I mean, but that time I believe is like what I meant by cyclical is that this runs through when you get like that crop of players that were like when where Ben came from.
Hmm.
Do you know the crop of players? And now we're getting into that next crop of players that came out in 2015 or whatever. You know,
Right.
where they're
Yeah. I
starting
mean,
to
even
get
more
now.
recent. I think Bosa was a rookie in
Or even more
19.
recent, right,
Yeah.
right, right,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right. So, but that's kind of where I think you're going to get, and the fact that the salaries now are, I mean, Patrick Mahomes got how many $100 million for how many years?
Yeah. But I mean, you can I mean, I don't even think you need to make the case. I think it's unequivocally true that Patrick Mahomes is the most valuable single player in American professional sports. I think he's the only guy, truthfully, that rivals like maybe Messi in terms of an overall worldwide impact as far as sport. It's football obviously is a very American sport. American football is an American sport, but
No,
Mahomes is
yeah.
just Mahomes. If he's healthy, the Chiefs are in the conversation for the best team in the league every year for the rest of his
E-
prime. It's just a
Even if
fact.
he isn't,
Yeah,
even if he isn't healthy, right? He beat the Eagles on one leg.
that's true. Yeah, no, I mean the deals are just getting so big and so bold, and I do think it's going to be interesting to see, though. I mean, now that we're seeing this expand to a position besides quarterback, how teams are going to build their rosters. The Niners have a lot of people due for that are going to get big money next year, over 15-18 million dollars. And you wonder how that affects the team. I think one of the things I really like about the way that the Steelers have rebuilt is that right now I think they're a very deep team. I think they're a team that you never wish for it, but they could sustain injuries to the offensive line. They could sustain injuries, God forbid, to outside linebacker. Pretty much everywhere except for free safety, they have a decent replacement.
And
Um,
quarterback.
yeah, but even that, I
Sorry.
mean, you could do a lot worse than Mitchell Trubisky for a backup quarterback. I don't like Mitchell Trubisky as a starter, but he's not a bad backup quarterback. He's very talented physically, you know.
Okay, but anyway, that might be for another
I mean, the
day.
Cardinals are trying out Josh Dobbs and Clayton Tune. Okay, I'll take Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph as backup quarterbacks. I think that's a good place to be in.
Okay, I understand, but that makes me I'm nervous. Like that just I can't believe we're going into the season with those quarterbacks.
I don't
That
know, man. I don't know that there's many
uh,
teams. I don't know that there's many teams that have better backups at that spot. I mean, there's just not that many good quarterbacks. There's not 32 good starting quarterbacks. So, I mean, how many good
so
backups are
that's
there?
yeah, see, there you go. That's the key phrase right there. There's not even 32 starting
I mean,
quarterbacks
let me ask you this
good enough.
question, not to pick on him because he's a former Steeler and we all love him, but would you, if you had to win a game, wouldn't you rather have Mitchell Trubisky than Josh Dobbs?
Yeah.
And Josh Dobbs is a starter. So that tells you, like, I mean, it's not a bad place to be in. Hell, you might even pick Mason Rudolph over Josh Dobbs, and that's our third string quarterback. So it could be a lot
Oh,
worse.
that would be close. That would be
It's a toss
close.
up.
And at least Josh Dobbs has that clock in his head.
He's got mobility, but he can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Okay, so like I said, at least he's got that clock in his head. You know what I mean? Mason Rudolph just doesn't have that clock.
No.
He just doesn't. Yeah. Okay, that's what. All
No,
right.
he doesn't. What do you know? Another year
I
and
know.
yet again, five-star matchup is talking about Mason Rudolph. I can't escape this guy. He is my I don't know. He's the yin to my yang. I can't stop talking about him every single year. I can't believe he's back, but that's another story. Um,
It's as bad as having Gunner still on the team. What are you doing?
Yeah, hey, they like him. I guess Kenny really likes him. He does the dirty work. I don't know. I was okay with keeping the six wide receivers. I just really wanted Miles Boykin to stay because I think he's a really talented special teams guy.
When they signed him last year, I knew he was going to stick around if given the opportunity.
For sure.
Okay, because that's exactly he just needs the opportunity. Right. When he was here and everybody else was here, he didn't really have much, and he was only 1 or 2 years, I think. That 1 year, the last year of Judy here.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Um
So I mean,
yeah, so So let's I think one of the things I wanted to think about today and get into as a topic of conversation
Oh,
is
let's.
yeah, what are your fears coming into this season as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan? I think that there's been a lot of positivity, and I think that that's a really great thing, and it's in stark contrast to how things have been going for the last few years, where there's been a lot of negativity or just question marks going into the season. Like I think last year, really the last 2 years, the last year of Ben, really, I guess I would say like the last three, the Ben coming back, you didn't know how he was going to play, and then Ben the second come after year, it was like, okay, does he have anything left? And then the
Yeah,
Trubisky
right.
year last year, you're like, what is this team going to be? Um, so yeah, there's a lot of positivity this year, but what are your fears for this team? Let's
Fears.
walk on the negative side for a moment.
Oh, I'll tell you. It's. Hmm. I'm a little bit gun shy about how they've kind of done things with Hayward, where they've kept him, but they have it as a fullback.
Oh,
I
Connor
think he
Hayward?
serves. Yeah, I think he serves better as, and I would like to see him more better as not necessarily a fullback, but more of an H back.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see
And
him do a little bit of that.
right, okay, because I everybody's like, okay, so they turned him into that, which is what Derek Watt was supposed to do, but we never got to see Derek Watt do that.
Right.
We've seen Hayward make catches across the middle. We've seen Hayward do those kinds of things that you can't necessarily do as a full back.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, I just don't, I generally have the feeling that that's one of those sort of positions and one of those types of players that us as Steelers fans tend to overthink maybe a little bit. I don't know. I just think that Connor Hayward is a nice player, but I think that if Connor Hayward has an outsized impact on this season, that's probably not a great thing because that probably means that guys in front of him that are maybe a little bit more talented are injured or missing time. So, that's not to knock Connor. I think he can be a talented, helpful player. But is he
Yeah.
top of mind for me in terms of like things I'm losing sleep over going into 2023? No, I think he's talented and I think he's going to contribute. Um, but yeah, I'm not losing sleep over that. But I think that's a fair enough point.
One of the things that I'm losing sleep over potentially is where is Matt Canada going to be? Is he going to be on the sideline or is he going to be in the booth?
Yeah.
Because I would like for him to be on the sideline,
Yeah, you've
but
said that
that's maybe
before.
old
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, you've said that before, but that's just not how offensive coordinators work anymore. It's just the reality. They're all up in the booth. They like to have the top down kind of look, and I mean, it is what it is. I think more concerning than that, more concerning than where he physically is, for me is like what is he doing and what is he calling? That's what I'm concerned with. Is
Well,
he the guy to be the offensive coordinator moving forward with young Kenneth Shane Pickett? That's the question.
I love it. We're using full names now for the young quarterback. I'm with you on that, and see, that was going to be my second point. Is this to me is put up or shut up time for Mr. Canada?
Yeah.
Okay, you have right now the best offs that you could have possibly have since you've been with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
That's talent, youth, depth, skill positions. You have what you need now. Omar Khan went out and got you all the groceries you need to run all your jet sweeps and all your jet motions and whatever. Right? So you got all that stuff now.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay?
That's true.
What you do with it?
Yeah. No, that's true. You're
Put up
absolutely
or
right.
shut up.
You're absolutely right, and I mean, it again. It's I think that has been, that's been the big question. Everybody says, okay, well, this whole season predicates on one guy, which is Kenny Pickett and how he improves. And I think
No,
I mean I think to an extent it is, but I think it's to an extent who how are they putting him in positions to win, and how are they putting him in positions to get better?
see,
Yeah,
now you're breaking into it, my friend,
and for
because
me,
that is
yeah,
exactly what we talked about all last year.
yeah. Yeah, no, and for me, it's just gonna be it's yes or no for Bat Canada. Like he's not gonna get fired during the season. It's just not how it works as a
I
Pittsburgh
wouldn't do that
Steeler.
anyway.
No, it's not
Yeah,
worth it. But I think what you're gonna see is he's either going to have a good year and Kenny Pickett's gonna progress and get better and grow, and then he's gonna get an extension if that happens. Matt Canada, that is. However, if Kenny Pickett has a negative year and he doesn't progress and he doesn't grow and he doesn't get better, then Matt Canada is going to be gone. This is the bottom line. This is, I think I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt only because, as I said on this show repeatedly in real time, those last 2 years of Roethlisberger organizationally were just difficult, because we were all looking at a player with diminished abilities. Um,
agreed.
and they moved on from him a year before he moved on from the team. That's the reality. I don't think I've said this a million times. I don't think Tomlin and I don't think Colbert wanted him back for 2021. Um, and it's just how it happened. They were up against the cap. They had to lose a lot of guys, Mike Hilton, things like that. And I think that it just had a negative impact overall in the way those seasons are. And I'll give him credit where credit is due. I still think, even though it ended with a whimper against Kansas City, I still truly believe that sneaking into the playoffs in 2021 for no reason at all was one of the most impressive feats of the second half of Roethlisberger's career. But ultimately, it is what it is.
I just had to smile a little bit because right on cue, as always, per usual, when we have our show, we
Yes, the
always
famous five-star sirens.
sirens.
Yes, the famous five-star
5 star
sirens.
song. Love it.
Why
I
are there
love it.
always
5 stars.
sirens at your house? Well, because it's 7 o'clock on a weekday afternoon or weekday evening in
In
New
the
York
city.
City. Yeah. Welcome to it.
What?
This is Brooklyn. You should have been here during the pandemic. That is insane. Um, but
Oh,
yes,
wow. Oh man.
I mean, hey, it just I'm
Okay. All
calling
right.
it. There's a lot of sirens. That's
That's
what it
right.
is. So
That's the way it is, right? So, but it was just kind of funny that you were just making a very serious point in the background.
the
Sirens.
famous five-star sirens. We love it. Um,
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry.
no, no,
Uh,
no. Yeah, but
As far as that is concerned, that's where I'm at on the offense. I think there's depth on the line. I think some out there that if anything were to happen, I think we moved on some guys that we needed to move on.
yeah.
Okay. And we brought in some guys that I think are really potentially help this team.
Yeah, I love the
Okay.
acquisitions. Offensively, again, I'm not really super worried about the offense. I actually really believe that this offense is going to surprise people, and I think it's actually going to be a pretty good offense. I'm a believer in
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett. I'm a Kenny Pickett truther. I saw what I needed to see last year.
Yeah.
I believe
Yeah.
it. I think he had enough throws, because for me, it's two things with quarterbacks. This is how I know is shout out hard to explain member for 11 months. He's dropping a little wisdom, finishing above 500 after last year's start of one of Tomlin's most impressive coaching feats. Yeah, I would say that it has to be. That team was 2-6. People were talking about whether or not they were going to be a top 5 pick in the draft, and they ended up going 9-8. So yes, that was a great job by Tomlin. Although I would say part of the reason they started so slow is because they gave the quarterback battle to Trubisky without much of a challenge. So that would be what I would say. But back to my point. Love
Yeah.
love the acquisitions. Not worried about the
Yeah.
offense. I really think this is what I'm gonna say. So the quarterback, yeah. So he to me did the two things that you need to see out of a good quarterback when they're young, and before you're seeing the full package. It's what we saw with Ben, and these are the two things that I look at: is one, can you put a drive together when you gotta have it and the defense knows you have to have it. And he did that repeatedly in the back half of last season against good defenses. Oakland's defense sucked, but he did it against Baltimore. That's in Baltimore. I'm sorry, that's a hell of an achievement for a rookie quarterback. And
Coming in the Jets game.
what's that?
When he to the Jets game.
Listen, the Jets game,
That
they were down by 10. They went up by 10. The defense blew that game 100%.
what I'm saying is that he clicked those boxes that you just did.
Yeah.
When you gotta have it, and the defense knows you gotta have it, and he came off the bench to do it.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
So that's.
I mean,
No, absolutely. That's the number one thing that I look at, and then the number two thing, because there's a lot of quarterbacks in this league who are starting quarterbacks who can't say this. I look at guys like Ryan Tannehill, guys that have even been moderately successful in this league, and I say, can you make a real throw? Like I'm talking like a serious tight window throw down the middle through defenders, get it to your man. And Pickett, again, did that repeatedly. Even when he was losing, there were throws in there scattered throughout. Particularly, I remember a couple, I think it was there was one to Connor, and there was one, I think in that Ravens game, to Steven Sims, that just stick out to me as the best throw he made all season. That he just drove it right down the middle. And it just had what it needed on it, and it got past the guys. He has the anticipation. So I'm not, all that to say is I'm not concerned about the offense. I actually think the offense is going to be good. Where I do have questions, though, getting back to my biggest fear on this team, I'm a little worried about the defense. And I think a lot of people are willing, because of Cam and TJ and Minka and some of the new pieces, to just look past that and just assume the defense is going to be good. That's our tendency with Pittsburgh Steelers football. But I'm a little concerned about the cornerback position, to be honest with you. I think that Joey Porter Jr. is going to take some time before he's a really high-level player. And I'm a little... I think Patrick Peterson was a smart pickup. However, if you gave me the choice between having hung on to Cam Sutton or bringing in Patrick Peterson, I would have rather hung on to Cam Sutton in that exact same position, personally.
me too. I'm with you on that 100%. And so I agree with you about those two particular positions on the defense. But let me just say this part about Joey Porter Jr. I got to watch him play against some of the best top talent in the Big Ten for 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the fact that he's able to toe for toe with Pickens, I tell you what, I'm with you. He's young. He's gonna get burned. Okay, it's gonna happen. They're gonna pick on him. He's a rookie. It's gonna happen, and he just needs the experience. But I think once that happens, once he gets that experience, because I think he's got the talent. I really think he's. So I'm with you on that concern. Maybe the first couple of games, you know what I mean? And I'm also a little concerned about some of the D line, about how that's going to shape up a little bit too. Okay, especially with Cam Hayward's injury, however insignificant everybody's saying it is. If he misses a game or whatever the case is, that's missing a game. You know what I mean? That's one of our best defenders.
Does Cam have an injury? I don't think Cam has an injury. I think he just didn't practice
Well,
today. I think Ogunjobi has an injury though. That for me is a concern, because he's battled foot a foot injury now for
Yeah.
like 2 years. Um, and that to me, I think is concerning because they gave him a lot of money. And I think I like Ogunjobi. I think he's a talented difference maker when he plays. I thought he was a talented player when he was over on Cleveland. Um, but I'm worried about the value proposition of him being a little bit older, and that foot injuries are a big deal for football players. We saw that last year with Najee.
Yeah.
you know Shout out Hard to
Um,
Explain on a roll, dropped a 5-star fiver in the bucket. Shout out to that.
Ooh, ding, ding, ding. Hey, get the hype for the 5-star fiver. All right. Thank you,
Hell
thank you,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, we got to get more super chats going this season, folks. Let's go. Get in that super chat. Drop a little $5.
Hell
It
yeah, man.
helps us get going on this channel for the season. But yeah, he's basically saying we're hoping Pat Peterson is Hayden part 2. And that I agree. However, Joe Hayden, when he came over, we thought of him as a veteran at that point in time because he was, but he
He
was
was.
he was 28. Pat
True.
Peterson's I think 33 or 32. So it's, for
Okay.
cornerback, that's when we moved on from Joe
Oh,
Hayden. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, but, to be fair, he graded out really well last year and he had 7 interceptions playing on good defense. So I don't know. Who knows? It's
He's
anybody's
going to
guess.
be a pretty good defense, I think, this year.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I look, I'm on that, but what I've seen out of the draft pick this year and last year, right? As far as like for the defense, I've really liked how some of those players have come. I have very much impressed with Mr. Highsmith. Very of that contract, as far as I'm concerned. With TJ missing the amount of time that he did last year, he stepped up, and now we're going to have, as mentioned in the chat, right, a healthy TJ, right? So that's a shout out to Christopher 11, right? A healthy TJ and a Highsmith either side. Man, I tell you what, quarterbacks are going to be running.
Yeah. No, hey.
I go ahead.
No doubt about that. I mean, you can't ask for a better outside linebacker pairing than Highsmith and Watt. Highsmith really impressed me last year. I had been a little hard on him.
I know.
Yeah, well, because I just felt as though he was the kind of guy who just was a solid player, but I didn't feel he was a splash player. And
Yeah.
last year he told me to shove it because he proved it. And good for him. He made
Yeah,
himself
yeah.
a lot of money. Outside linebackers on that contract year, man, they know how to crank it up and they know how to get that deal. Just like the richest man in the universe, Bud Dupree, before him.
You know.
Yeah. So I mean, good for him, and yeah, and I think I see there's some discourse in the chat right now about the inside linebackers, and I think that that's a position that I'm actually pretty excited about. I think that it's been a learning process since Shazier got hurt, and they, I think, hopefully, have started to learn that the game now is just a matter of matching chess pieces. And you can't just trot out a guy who's fast and athletic at middle linebacker and hope that they're going to be Ryan Shazier. Those players, I got news for you. The reason that the loss of Shazier hurts so bad was because he's so rare. There aren't guys that can do that. Because here's the thing, most of the time, if you can do that, you're going to either be like an offensive player or you're going to be a DB or what have you. But like, there's not a lot of money in being an off-ball linebacker right now. So the best athletes in the world for the most part, aren't gravitating to that position. So what you need to do is you need to be smart about how you deploy your safeties. You need to be smart about how you deploy your formations, et cetera, et cetera. And I think
Especially your
that
nickelbacks. Yep.
exactly. And I think in the post Keith Butler world, in the Terrell Austin, universe, I think that they're learning that. And I think you're seeing that with the way that they brought in guys that they expect to have position flexibility. DeMonte Casey, the
Yeah.
other, Keanu Neal, who had played linebacker even. He's listed as a safety, but he played some backer. Patrick Peterson's going to be all over the place. And I love the middle linebackers that they signed. They made that room over completely. I'm glad, you know, I'm rooting for Mark Robinson. Everybody was so hyped on him because of the way he hits. But I'm glad that they didn't just sit back and hope he was going to be a really good player. And they went out and they got some really good players. They got Cole Holcomb, who I think is going to, be that every down kind of guy, getting a lot of tackles. If he stays healthy, I
No,
think
no, no. I'm with you.
if he stays healthy, I think he should lead the team in tackles probably. And then Big E, I'm calling him Landon
Quan,
Roberts. Yep.
Quan Alexander.
And
Yep. I
Quan
like Quan
Alexander. Yeah.
Alexander.
Yeah, you gotta love these late. You gotta love these late veteran pickups with Quan and Desmond King. I think just add a lot to a team that's overall very young. Not so much on defense, but go ahead.
Exactly. And then you sprinkle in a Herbig.
Yeah,
That kid's going to see the field.
yeah,
And he reminds me of TJ Watt, like a smaller kind of speedier version of TJ Watt, like if you know what I mean.
yeah. I mean,
And
definitely.
even yeah, and TJ Watt even like took him under his wing because this was his rookie camp and everything, right? So TJ kind of took him under his wing and the whole 9 yards. What a person to learn from.
Yeah, you're telling me about
To
it.
learn. Yeah, right. Okay, right. So you're learning from TJ Watt, and this dude has got. I mean, he had started before he even got drafted. This guy had a motor going, right? And now it's another set of brothers, right? Because we got his brother now as the offensive lineman.
You gotta have some brothers on your team. I mean, you just have to.
Right. So it's only fitting that we got his brother for the O line from the Jets. Like I really like that pickup because I really think that helps to solidify this offensive line. Okay. Now, look, I know we've been talking about defense and everything else like that, but I'm with you on some of the cornerback, question marks, especially with Joey Porter Jr. But I think he's going to pan out. He's had some good coaching,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I think he's in some good coaching now. I think he's in a good system now
Yeah,
to where
I
he's
have zero concern about him in general as a player and developing. I just think that it's going to be tough. It's just tough to ask a cornerback to come in and
learning
be
curve.
good. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, learning curve. No, no, no. I completely understand and agree with you. And I guarantee you, if he is trotted out there, quarterback's eyes are going to be like this big when they see that rookie quarterback trotting out there to line up against one of their top receivers.
Yeah, it's a
They're going to
lot.
be like, hey.
It's a lot to ask of a young player, no matter where you played. Particularly if you played in the Big Ten. I think if you had played in the SEC, that's one thing. But I'm doing a bit there, being mean because you like
I
Penn State.
know, I know, and you're Georgia. I know,
Go
I
Dogs.
get it.
Go Dogs. Speaking of dogs,
Go
okay,
Lions.
you're Mr. O line, you're Mr. tight end. This Darnell Washington character, I think, is going to be a monster. Former Bulldog, now Pittsburgh Steeler. Love that.
Former Bulldog, it wasn't Broderick Jones.
Yeah,
Isn't he a former UGA?
he is. Yeah.
Look, I can't wait to see this guy play. I can't wait.
Yeah, he's going to be a monster.
Everything that I've seen from him, and trust me, I watched on purpose. Watched Georgia games on purpose.
I mean, they're on national TV like every week.
I mean, I have family in Georgia, so it works out. It's all good, and I can secretly be a an UGA fan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. But I watched a lot of that because obviously we drafted him, so I went back and watched some of the uh, and then everything that I've seen from him in camp and everything that I've just seen from him. Period. Man, I can't wait to see this guy play. I think he's going to be one of those next guys that's just a special tackle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. And one thing I want to say on that point, and I think I might have mentioned this on my last show with Gage, but um, one thing I want to say about that is, there's always this discourse over, like whenever a new rookie comes in, and if they don't beat out the guy, it all depends on like what the predetermined narrative is, right? So last year it was, oh well, Tomlin didn't let Pickett beat Trubisky. And in reality, it's like, well, maybe he just could see that he wasn't ready for it and he didn't want to screw up his new toy, whatever, whatever, whatever. Right? But I think that in this case with Broderick Jones, I think people have determined like, oh, I think that Dan Moore is just going to keep his job and Broderick Jones doesn't have a chance and blah blah blah. You know what? How about Dan Moore just made himself a way better player after playing 1,000 snaps on offense in the NFL. And I think that that's a good thing. And I think it's a little bit like Terrell Edmonds, who wasn't a spectacular player, but became a good starter in this league. And I hate when fans root against guys like that. We're a better team if Broderick Jones and Dan Moore are good players. It's okay. I don't need a left tackle to come in and start right away because you know why? You know who they're playing in week 1? They're playing Nick Bosa. You know who they're playing in week 2? They're playing Myles Garrett. You know who they play in week 3? They play Max Crosby. I don't need those guys going against a guy who never played in the NFL before, okay? That's okay. Give me the veteran. I don't care if Broderick Jones is going to be a better player than Dan Moore Jr., but it's okay if he's not a better player than him immediately.
Exactly. Exactly. And hey, how about some 5-star fiver for Black Rain? Dropping that fiver. Hey, woo, get some hype going for that. Thank you very
brother.
much.
We appreciate that. Back like we never left. Man. Cheers to another heart attack inducing Steelers season. Canada, don't feel me now. And how about my Knowles? Hey, listen, you dropped a 5-star fiver. You're allowed to salute your Seminoles on air if you wish, my friend. Black Rain is a real OG of this channel, always in the comments. I notice, it's one thing I hope you guys realize. Like, I notice the people who are showing up in the comments now for years and years and years. And I am so I'm so appreciative of it. And, you guys are the best. I've said this a million times. I know it sounds like whatever, but the truth is like we've built a very specific vibe and atmosphere on this channel. And, this is never going to be, I'm never going to have 1 million subscribers. I'm never going to be on ESPN like Pat McAfee, but I don't really care. What I like is that like there's some amount of you that just dig what I'm trying to do. And I'd rather frankly sit here and talk with a bunch of people that are borderline my friends on the internet than 10,000 people just screaming at me in the comments that I can't even understand. So, appreciate y'all. And once again, welcome to season 5 of 5-Star Matchup.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. Like I said, I'm really excited about the game, but I'm also really excited about is it Sunday night yet? Right? Is it Sunday night yet? Do we get to? Is 5-star out yet?
Look for it on Monday morning. I thought about experimenting with a Monday evening launch this year to give myself a little bit more breathing room. We'll see how that goes.
Maybe like a 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, it would be something like that if I did it. Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. It depends.
I'm sorry, folks. I'm not trying to get y'all to try to have to wait an extra 12 hours for your 5-star fix.
No,
well, there you go. 5-star fix. Get your 5-star fix right here.
No, I mean it's a lot. You know, I tried to conceptualize ways to do it easier this year. But the
Yeah,
reality is to do this show the way that I want to do it. Um, it's a
not easy.
lot. It's just yeah, it's just a lot. So I mean,
Yeah,
I don't want to sacrifice the quality, but we'll see. You know, I think we'll take it on a case by case basis. I'm always experimenting and always learning new things, but you're gonna see a lot more of us this year. I have a whole new strategy with the YouTube shorts and all that stuff. That stuff's been doing crazy. We've done like
I know.
350,000 views this month on YouTube shorts, which is nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. You know, the first show that we did, the first stream that we did for like the preseason game was close to 1,000.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it did good. Did
Right, right,
good.
right. And our average last year when we were on the show was like I don't know, 12, 1,300, right? Something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When we
No, I
did our
mean,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. The radio, I mean, the radio again, I never you know, I never really worry too much about the radio as far as like how many people are hanging out because frankly, I just like doing this and it's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
easy. It's pretty easy for me. You know,
No,
I can you can put a microphone in front of me and I can talk about the Steelers till I'm blue in my
all day
face,
long.
you know. There's not a lot of
All day long.
yeah. Um
Exactly. There's no shortage. There's no shortage of coming out of place if you want to say what talk about the Steelers. Okay, I just want to do a quick shout out to philosophy. I too am in this boat. I don't care. I'm still always going to call it Heinz Field. It's even like you sure I get it. I'm just never gonna look at that. Hard to explain
oh
32.
my god.
Dropping the $10.
He already dropped
Making
the
you
5.
ha.
He already dropped the 5. That's 15
Woo!
from my man, who's a real
Oh man.
supporter. He's a
Oh
member, he's a
snip
patron,
snap.
he's everything. Look at this. Look what this guy's doing in one thing. You can do $7 a month, my friends out there. Patreon.com/5SMU. Anyway, on to his question. Not Steelers related, but Steve, have you ever been to the venue Brooklyn Steel? I'll be there on the 19th. And do you know any spots near there for food if you have been there? Also, Roll Tide. Um, I have been to Brooklyn Steel. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I have.
is
I'm
that a
trying to.
restaurant?
No, it's a concert venue.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
what are you seeing there on the 19th, my friend? Um, I are you going to see Pavement? I know they're there. I wanted to go to that show. I don't know offhand, but I'll get back to you next time I'm on the air. Hit me up again, and I will I'll give you something. That's a good question.
Oh my
Oh my goodness,
gosh.
what is going on today?
Holy my
We got the
gosh.
rich folks in the chat today.
Woo! Philosophy.
Philosophy. He
Oh
must be get
my gosh.
he must be getting paid like Nick Bosa.
Oh, yeah, lottery winners in here is what Empower said. Holy, thank you. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Thank you
goodness.
so much.
Yeah, this chat
Wow.
is ludicrous.
Oh,
Appreciate you. Uh
wow.
oh wow. Well yeah, thanks a lot, Philosophy. Yeah, go Steelers. I'm
Man,
with you.
I actually recommend any place there in the city where that never sleeps. But if you're in the Berg, man, you got to drop by Kelly O's, right? You
What's
really
that?
down in the district. It's like a diner,
Oh, okay, classic. Love
right?
it.
Oh, dude, they got the yinzer going on down there, right? O's, man, you got to go drop by Kelly O's. It's pregame. They do a great spread down there for breakfast, right? So we've been trying to make that as a tradition. Before we go to the game, we stop down there at Kelly's and talk to Superman and all them guys down there at Kelly's. So big shout out to them, man. Appreciate all the great food that they do, and then boy, they're down there slinging it, man. They are wall to wall peasy during game day. You know what I mean, right? So those people are working hard, right?
here we are now. 5 Star Radio has become a restaurant review show. This is we're just going to talk about restaurants now. Hard to explain is
No.
going to see Flogging Molly at Brooklyn Steel, and M Bauer says they saw pavement in Pittsburgh at a roller rink in 1994. So that's super cool.
There.
I love you guys. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. I wanted to have
This is awesome.
I wanted to have a sports talk show where people could talk about the band Pavement and seeing them in 1994. That is the exact niche that I'm
Right?
talking about. And I don't care if there's only 35 people who want to listen to that. Okay? I love it. Thank you guys.
And a little Steelers sprinkled in.
Yes.
Right?
Don't worry, Mike and others. The post game, the wrap up is never going anywhere. That's my main show. That's my breadwinner. Even though it doesn't make any money, that's my show. That's never going anywhere.
No.
I pioneered that. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it, and I'm so proud of that. And now to be going into the 5th season, it's just a trip, man. I created that in 2019.
Man.
I know, and it's just continued to grow, and it's wild to me that people have continued to watch it, and not only that, it's continued to grow, and so yeah, I'm excited to face the new season. Though I think, like I said, there's just so many good positive vibes.
You've even mentioned on Reddit.
I have.
Yes, sir.
Oh, by you?
So, no, not by me, but I have seen posts mentioning you in a positive light on Reddit.
Cool.
So, I mean, you're making big time here, right?
Listen. Hey, I'm just out here doing my deal, getting $50 donations from Philosophy. You know, that's what life is all about. Now, if Philosophy
All
just
day
wants
long.
to show up and drop $50 every time, I'm just kidding. Of course, appreciate you, brother, or
Yeah, man,
sister,
for real.
or whoever. I don't know. That's the funny thing about YouTube. You don't know who's behind the name, right?
That's right. But wow, I don't think we saw some big ones. I don't think we've ever seen one this big before. Did we see one?
I don't know about individually.
Not this season.
We had that one show, remember, at the end of the season last year
Yeah.
where people were just
Yeah.
like $30, $40, $30. It was like
Yeah.
that was like, I think that show did like $250 or something, which for me, you know,
Wow.
where I'm at, that's you
Wow.
know, that's big money.
That's
Yeah,
man.
but
That
appreciate
pays
you.
that pays for a service for the month.
Hey, listen, this
You know, it
this ain't
does.
free. I gotta pay for software. I gotta pay for this. I gotta pay for
Word.
that.
Yep. All
you
that
know,
stuff, man. All that subscription to software, subscriptions to
Yep.
all this other stuff to put all this stuff together. I do the same thing, man. At Steel Flyers All Sports Network, steelflyers.com. Check us out, man. We do all kinds of great stuff from Prospect Watch to hockey shows. We cover the Flyers. We cover Penn State. We cover all kinds of sports. Got to go check it out, steelflyers.com. But we do the same thing, and it's kind of it costs money for all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And man, I'll tell you what, when we get to come in here and do these kind of chats, I love doing these with 5 Star, man, because number one, 5 Star is the coolest cat going on. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate that.
Right. Right. And he's got the coolest gig going on here with this, the whole, 5 Star matchup, because he's in it.
That's true. I am in it, and I am the guy.
You're the man. You the man, right? So, but I love doing this because we get to see the great generosity of people and see the great camaraderie of people. And you're right, man. I would much rather. I don't want to be on ESPN. I want to be our network.
Yeah.
I want to be on this network. I would much rather this all day long talking sports to people, like having a normal conversation. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm here doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody out there has got an opinion, and we love seeing them, and we love the feedback and everything. This is great, man. I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, I'm the same. I'm right there with you. One last thing one last little promo thing. I want to just drop, by the way. I have a little bit of a sponsorship deal now with a company called Sleeper, who I got turned on to a couple years ago.
Okay.
They are my favorite fantasy football app. That's actually real life. The reason I reached out to them is because I really liked their app and wanted to do this. So this is not a plug. Like, well, this is a plug, but it's not because of they're paying me.
Yeah, right.
So I really love this app, and they have now like sports betting props built in and stuff like that. So I use it for fantasy football. I'm being totally honest. I use it for fantasy football. But they offered me a promo. So basically, I have a link now. If you want to sign up, if you do any betting during the year, please do sign up through my link. I just dropped it in the chat. It's sleeper.com/promo/5star. I'll be honest with you guys. The whole deal is basically they match your first deposit up to $100 free. That's awesome. And they throw me some cash if you sign up. So if you can, get on
All
there
right.
and deposit 10, 15, $20, whatever whatever you want to do to get yourself started for the season. If you're going to do a little gambling, check them out, give them a look. It throws a little my way. I would appreciate it. But yeah, and Philosophy says get on X and have a subscription for your video recaps. I'll pay $20 a month for your Steelers content. I appreciate that, man, but you can do that on Patreon or on YouTube. I have memberships also. So you could become a member here on
Right.
YouTube, or you can go over to patreon.com/5SMU. All right, I am done plugging. Let's get back to actually talking about football. I
Hey, this is about the Steelers, right? Yeah. No.
I know. See, we've just been BSing for so long. Somebody asked me for my prediction. Should I do a prediction?
Is that how you wanna? Do you wanna? Is that how you want to do it? Do you want to throw them out there? Because my predictions are pain.
Oh, really? You don't
This is
like the
gonna
Steelers
be
this week, huh?
no. Didn't say that.
Okay.
No. Not saying that. Not paying for the Steelers. Paying for the 49ers.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, paying for the 49ers. I think that I think it's gonna be. This has the potential to be ugly.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. For some reason, man, I know that Nick Bosa got, that really great deal and I got it. Yeah, okay. But Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, I hear you. I think
would you rather have Brocky starting, or would you much rather have Mason Rudolph starting or Josh Dobbs starting? What would you?
No, I mean you got to say Purdy over those guys just because of what he did last year.
I'm with you, but
here's what I would say. I do think that there are a shockingly plentiful amount of people
yes,
in the world that are choosing to just say yes and when it comes to Brock Purdy. He had a nice run. He had a good coach. He was unexpected. He got hurt. I don't think they were going to beat the Eagles. Shoot, they barely got past the Cowboys. The only reason they did is because their defense held the Cowboys to 12 points. And that's an indictment on the Dallas Cowboys, but that's a story for another day. Listen, I think he could definitely be a good quarterback, and they are stacked. I mean, if you take quarterback out of the equation, because I still think that you just don't know with him, I think that they might have the strongest roster top to bottom or close to it. In the league, offensive skill players are excellent. Defensive players are excellent. And they have a coach that knows how to utilize them. However, I do think you need to have a quarterback who is not just a benefactor of the system, because at some point, I think Brock Purdy, the reality sets in. Is Brock Purdy just another sort of like Ryan Tannehill type who we saw have some really nice, really efficient years when Derrick Henry was really kicking and they had a good offensive line and all that. But I think to really get anywhere in this league, when's the last time we saw just an okay quarterback win the Super Bowl? It's been quite a while, hasn't it?
does Trent count?
I mean that's that's a long time ago. I mean,
does Trent count from from
Trent Dilfer.
the Ravens. Yeah,
Yeah,
Trent
no, for
Dilfer. Does
sure.
that count?
Yeah,
Or the
for
first
sure.
game of Ben's first game, like that's woo,
Listen, look at the
was
quarterbacks.
horrible.
Look at the quarterbacks that yeah, but you wouldn't say Ben was just an okay quarterback. He had a
Oh yeah,
bad
no.
game. He had a bad game in the
Yeah,
Super Bowl, but listen to
yeah.
it. These are the quarterbacks that have won Super Bowl. You have to go back. Okay, I'm just going to go backwards in time. Patrick Mahomes, Matt Stafford, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Nick Foles, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Joe Flacco, Eli Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady,
Wait,
Brad Johnson. So I think to
wait.
legitimately go
What?
back to a quarterback
Flacco?
that, I mean, maybe, okay, if you want to say Flacco, but you can't. But you can't because both Flacco and Foles had just outrageous postseasons. I mean, you know,
And great teams around them with great defenses, and they didn't be the man.
yeah, yeah. No, I just think it's I think it's tough. I think that the Niners are going to be when I look at them, I'm not a Niners fan, so it's not my job. But like, I think when you look at them, I think they're gonna feel the pain of that trade up for Trey Lance and the swing and miss there. And their next 5 years are really going to be dependent on whether or not Brock Purdy is the real deal. Um, I kind of maybe I'm a little off base here, but I kind of like Seattle in a sneaky way to win that division. I thought Seattle really had a nice year last year, and uh, I'm kind of in on the Geno Smith resurgence. I thought he was phenomenal last year. Um, we'll see.
Okay. Um, Here's the 49ers, and he can come in and be a game manager, and if he's a game manager and they're able to take care of business that way, then Purdy's going to be successful. And I think that that's what he was a victim of last year. To play in front of, I mean, it's like when you quarterbacks in their prime, right? Like I'll just use this as an example. When Peyton Manning was playing in the bowl with the Indianapolis Colts, if you just kept that whole team and moved Peyton Manning, you could put Ryan Tannehill in there, or you could put a Brock Purdy per se on paper, because all they really have to do is just make the throws and not throw it away or not turn it over and manage the system. You understand what I'm saying? Right. And they got a Cadillac offense in front of them with the best offensive line and the best running backs and the best receivers.
I do, but
So if you
even in that
can't,
scenario, even with Peyton Manning, the Colts only got over the hump one time. Yeah,
okay. I mean, I was just using that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
as a as an example, right? Because the 49ers, like you said, are stacked. They have good skill positions. They have some pretty good depth. They're just pretty good. They got the most expensive or the highest paid defender now in Nick Bosa, and deservedly so, right? I mean, the guy is freaking lights out. Okay, seriously. Um, I'm just, I don't know. I know
Yeah.
I don't have a feeling for what the 49ers are going to do this year per se, because tape is out on Purdy.
Yeah, no,
So
and
when
that's
tape's
always
out
yep.
on you, you're not surprising anybody anymore.
Well, I think that's going to
You're
be
not.
the
You're
yeah, that's
not.
going to be the interesting thing about Pickett this year is that for as much as everybody talks about he's going to make
Same thing.
yeah, he's going to make an improvement, but people are also going to be preparing for him now and how does he counter that? I think he's going to do a good job of it, but who knows? I just to get back to the Steelers, I think I like them this week. I'm not trying to be like a homer. I legitimately think they're going to win this week. I just think that
Yeah, I do too.
I think that there's a lot going the wrong way for the Niners. Yeah, Nick Bosa's going to play. Yeah, Kittle's probably going to play, but are either going to play as much as they would have if they had been healthy this whole time? I don't know. Um, I just have a feeling that the Steelers, I think offensively, are just going to come out clicking. I'm actually kind of annoyed that it's been, by the time they play, it's going to have been like 17 days since they last played because they were on fire, man. And I hope that it carries over because I really, you know, for as much as we've had this conversation, everybody in the fan base of, oh, the preseason was awesome, and then the other half of the people being like, well, it's just preseason, and then half the people, oh, but it was awesome. And I do think that you have to temper your expectations a little bit if you're basing it off of preseason, but it was so good and it was so refined in in terms of like the timing, the ball placement, all that kind of stuff. I think you can buy into it a little bit, and I think that this offense is going to start off strong. Um, that's just my feel. I think the Steelers are going to win this game. I think you're going to be looking at something like 24 to
Yeah.
13. That's what I think.
So in the very time that Kenny Pickett had playing football in the preseason, he had a perfect quarterback rating, right? He only missed a couple of throws, had quite a few yards, a couple of touchdowns. I mean, he did everything that he was supposed to do in the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Showed that he's ready now to take the reins and be the full-time starter here for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
That's what I think is going to happen this year. And for that to happen, they're going to need to be able to do what they've done throughout the preseason, and that is come out of the gates swinging. We can't have another opening drive 3-and-out every for the first 4 games of the season. Can't do that. You got to be able to swing it.
Yeah, no,
Okay?
I agree.
Right? You can't come out and choke and do a 3-and-out and trot off the field. No. That to me is that no. That's taking a step backwards.
I think that one of the Steelers' best advantages early in this season is that no one knows what they're going to look like. I mean, that's a reality. We haven't seen a full at his powers Kenny Pickett, full at his powers Najee Harris, this new offensive line. Matt Canada now going into his 3rd season with, maybe a quarterback who's really putting some time into the books and all that kind of stuff and wants to do it, wants to be there. I think that,
he was the offensive captain this year.
He was, and I think that was very impressive and says a lot about the way that his teammates feel about him. I think that the offense just has a real strong opportunity here. What's going to annoy me is if they do come out and they really do what they've been saying all year, which is we're going to be a ground and pound, run it first, blah 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 blah. I just don't think that that's where their strength is. I look at this team and I say, you drafted a quarterback, you got a line that can pass block. I know that Niners have good pass rush, etc. But you got good wide receivers. Who's going to guard Deontay Johnson? Who's going to guard, George Pickens? You got guys, Calvin Austin. Nobody's seen Calvin Austin on tape. Yeah, maybe everybody knows he's fast, but you don't know his full bag of tricks. So I look back to that Niners game, which, by the way, if you didn't catch the 5-star remastered, check that out. The first episode of that, I looked back at one of my first episodes, and it happened to be against the 49ers.
Yeah.
I look back at that and I see a rookie Deontay Johnson sneaking behind the defense and catching a bomb from Mason Rudolph because, who knows? You don't know what this guy's bag of tricks are. And I think that, Calvin Austin's the same kind of thing. They're going to be dedicating a lot of attention to Deontay, and they're going to be dedicating a lot of attention to Pickens. I think the worst thing you could do is come out and be super vanilla. I say come out slinging it. Throw the ball around the field and get them on their heels.
Even though Pittsburgh is saying this, that they want to be a ground and pound, they want to be a ground and pound after the passing attack has softened them up. This team, in my opinion, is built to be a pass first off to set up the right, or it just they're going to use the passing game to be the run game. So you're going to see more, and that's why I think they did what they did with Hayward, right, with moving him to fullback or whatever. And I think more of that with the running backs and such being more of a threat out of the backfield more so than they are running out of the field. I still think that you need to get Najee or Jalen. I don't care who it is. Either one, I don't care. Thunder and Lightning, I don't care. But they need to have at least 20 to 25 touches.
Yeah.
In okay. And look, historically, when Pittsburgh statistically over the years, historically, if the quarterback throws 25 passes or less, and the running back gets 25 carries or more, Pittsburgh has been successful 70% of the time, more so than they're not.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put the caveat on that being that for the first 70 years of the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's how the game was played. And so,
Well, no, so that's why I
Jerome
say
was
it's
getting
different now.
32. Yeah, Jerome was getting 32 carries because they were up by
Yeah,
10,
yeah,
and back then that
yeah.
was, the end of the game. Um,
Right. You
I
still
think
need to be able to have that.
you do. And I agree. I think that I agree with your sentiment, which to me is that Najee, for me, is best suited, and this is where his strength really lies. He's best suited as a closer. He is a guy that you bring in the ninth inning
Yeah,
and you hand him the
running
ball. He's
downhill.
not going to fumble it. Everybody else is going to be more tired. This is what people miss about him. I hate this conversation that's sprung up over whether or not Najee Harris is a disappointment. Okay, I think that's absolutely ridiculous because he's not. No, is he? Is he Derrick Henry? No, he's not. Is he Adrian Peterson? No, he's not. But he's handled the ball more times in the last 2 years than anybody else in the NFL. He hasn't missed any time, even though he had a Elise Frank foot injury last year, hobbled by that. You could see the pain he was in. Anytime he took a funny twist or turn last year, he was limping off. I always thought he was going to get re-injured, and he'd always come right back in. So I give Najee all the credit in the world, and I think that you saw the form come. You saw them round into form in the second half of last season. And the way that they did that, those games against like Carolina or whatever, I remember there was one drive specifically against Carolina, and remember Trubisky played that game because Pickett was hurt. Where they took the ball over, I don't know if it was like it was late, maybe 10 or 11 minutes left, and they put this drive together that just chewed the clock just like completely. Like I think they took like 7.5 minutes off the clock. This is summary information. I don't remember specifically. Somebody can call me out if I'm wrong, but I remember they had this big clock eating drive, and either they kicked a field goal or scored a touchdown and locked it down. And to me, that's what they need to be doing. That's when you talk about establishing the run. Yes, you want to have it at your disposal early in the game, but I think you want to catch them on their heels, and then have Najee finish things off.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But so then let me ask you this question then, okay? Right? So does that mean you feature Jalen at the beginning part of the game and then to Najee?
I mean, I do
Because
think
look, it's all going to depend on. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, yeah, I do think that that's where you. I think that's how they fit. But I still think you're gonna see not. I still think you're gonna see Jalen in a more limited role than people are anticipating. I think just because you have a good backup running back who happens to be fast, it doesn't mean that they're gonna start eating into their touches. I think it should a little bit more, at least, than what Tomlin has done in the past. But Tomlin's proven in the past that he really is a believer in the one back kind of way, which is becoming rapidly very old school. But it's kind of how he's run things. I think you might see Jalen get, more touches, but like, I mean, I did 3 fantasy drafts, and I've seen so many more people pick him earlier than I would have picked him. And I'm a Steelers fan who watched him last year and was excited about him. I mean, I think he's a talented player, but I just know how the distribution goes. He's not going to eat into Najee's touches all that much. He's just not. I wouldn't be surprised if Najee's in the top 3 or 5 again in touches this season if he stays healthy.
So here's my thing, Aubrey. So I'm with you. I think I agree with you. Najee be the closer, but it's going to be such a mix, I think, this year because of the Matt Canada offense and because of how they use that short passing game as kind of the run game too.
True.
With his little motion jet sweeps and all that other kind of stuff counts as a running game. He might be a wide receiver running the ball instead of a running back.
True.
Do you know what I'm saying? Uh, I see a little less of that. I want to see running backs running the ball, and I want to see receivers and tight ends catching the ball. Does that make sense? Because it
Yeah.
just didn't seem like that was the case last year.
No, I agree. I think that was the one thing that I would say was a minor regression point for Najee, if you want to call it that. I wouldn't say it was his fault because it's just how the offense was designed. But they didn't use him as
Right.
a receiver last year, hardly at all. And we've seen it. He's a very good receiver of the ball. He's not exactly Le'Veon or anything, but he can make some really nice catches and really nice plays in open space. And hopefully, with a little bit more balance returning to the offense this year, he'll get the opportunity to kind of stretch his wings a little bit.
So that's kind of what I'm hoping too, with more of the balance, more of the, hey, this is actually a sustained type of passing attack. This is actually a sustained type of running attack that we have the line to sustain
Hmm.
those long leading drives. Because the only way you're going to win in the NFL these days is if you can splash play, and if you want to do a stride for stride with something, you got to be able. If
Yeah.
you can't do it that way, then you got to be able to do it the long game. So the long game is pounding it out for 6, 7, 8 minute drives, right? You need to have that because that's really the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think Pittsburgh is going to be a bit of a hybrid of that because if if the Mount Canada offense works the way I've seen it work with a pretty decent team with some talent on it, that the way kind of he has now, and he's been given carte blanche, do whatever you want,
Hmm.
and with the amount of chess players he's got for this year, I want to see this be a new level, and I think that's where the mism is coming from, because does Canada have this in him? Is he worth? I mean, is he worth the hype?
Yeah. We're gonna
Is it
find
going to
out.
come true?
We're gonna
That's
find
right.
out.
We're going to find out. That's exact. And if we are going to find out, then you're going to see a you're going to see a distribution of the ball. Okay, you're going to see passes. You're going to see. I think you're going to see a lot of misdirections because that's kind of how his whole offense ended up with misdirection. Excuse me,
Absolutely.
misdirections and the jet sweeps and everything. This year, it's going to be different because now defenses are going to be following guys that are moving. Last year, nobody was following.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, "Yeah, we know what play's coming."
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, one thing leads to the next, and hopefully that's a more balanced Pittsburgh Steelers offense. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's around about that time for us to get out of here. I gotta go eat some dinner, my friends. But y'all are the
There you go.
best. Appreciate y'all hanging out as per usual. Um,
Thank
it,
you all very much.
yeah, absolutely. Steel Flyers. Anything you want to leave the folks with?
Well, for sure, you got to check out Five Star. For especially the wrap up show, and then you got to check out Five Star and Steel for the radio show, right? So we're going to be doing what this and so is it going to be the pre-show or the after game show or something, right? We'll be doing something during the season, right? It'll either be for the game coming up or the game happened,
One or the other. Yeah,
right?
we're definitely gonna
Hold
do
on.
a midweek show like we did last year. Probably
Yeah.
Wednesdays. I'm thinking maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I'll
Okay.
probably still do the slot with
Yeah. Yeah.
Gage on Mondays. Um, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
yeah, and
Good
then
deal.
the Sunday I don't know. I gotta see. I mean the pre and post game show I like doing, but we'll see. We'll see how they fit in.
Or maybe what we could do is maybe we could do like a couple of like uh chats.
Yeah.
Like we could like have the game playing, and we all could be sitting here kind of watching the game, commenting on the game like we did for the preseason game. That looked out really good.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll do something this
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
shout out to Mike Clark. Just became an all pro member on YouTube.
Oh,
Very positive
thank you.
stream, guys. Y'all are the best. M
I'm
Power says
telling you, man.
he likes the pregame stream. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get the pregame streams going. Um a-
Hey, yeah. By
anyway,
all means.
anyway, folks, we only have one more day until real football, and then only 4 days until the Pittsburgh Steelers play football. It's gonna be a good week,
Ooh.
friends. Gonna be a
Yeah,
good
man.
week.
So, okay, before we get out of here, prediction
Steelers win 24-13.
24-13. I'm going to say Steelers, and oh, man. I want to say 28-17.
All right. Hey, I like
28-17.
four touchdowns. Sounds nice.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns sounds nice, right? So 28-17 is what my prediction is. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hey, listen,
So,
if I put 4 touchdowns in the show, I think that would be the first time I've done that since probably what, that game against the Vikings, maybe.
Vikings, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Boy,
Yeah,
I
we
tell you
might actually
guys,
get
I started this show in an era of Steelers football. You got to give me credit. I make highlights, and we have had so few highlights. We must have had the lowest touchdown output in the last 5 seasons of of any Steelers team in history, or at least since the 60s. But hey, whatever. This year, it's all
bad.
new. It's all new.
You know it's bad when you go a couple weeks 5-star of the dude.
Yes. All right, folks.
You gotta have that, right?
Well, we appreciate you. Thanks for hanging
everybody.
out. Everybody that donated, became a member, appreciate you. If you want to become a member here, you can. Do it right here on YouTube. You can hit that super chat, or you can go over to patreon.com/5SMU. If you want to do a little sports betting this year, you can go to sleeper.com/promo/5star. Enter promo code 5star, as you might imagine. I have the best name for promos. What do you want your promo code to be? 5star? Yeah, let's go.
5-star.
Yeah, I'll catch you guys down the road on shoot, I guess at this point it'll be on the first episode of 5-Star Matchup season 5. Can't wait. See you then.
Can't wait.
Adios, my friends. Bye.